All right, so we are going to begin with the steering committee update by Ara Erickson.
Great. Thank you, Mia, and thank you for sharing your story. I got a little emotional listening to you. I really, really value that you shared that with us today. So, hello, everyone. And what a day this is, an incredible moment. I so wish that we could see the hundreds of faces who are listening in to this event today. As Mia mentioned, we have so many registrants that we decided we had to pivot to a webinar format quite quickly for this event. We are working on how to have a more engaging face-to-face, even virtual event for our next one. I'm Ara Erickson. I'm a member of the steering committee for the Women's Forest Congress, and I'm the director of corporate sustainability at Weyerhaeuser in my day job. Today, I get to wear my Women's Forest Congress hat or badge with so much joy. So what is the steering committee and what are we doing? Well, I'm going to start with something fun first. We begin each of our meetings with a fist to 5 check-in. Fist meaning I'm terrible. I'm feeling down today. I could use some support. 5 meaning I'm feeling awesome. I have energy to spare and support to give. But we've been all over the board with our responses to that simple question since we started meeting regularly about 15 months ago. So for those who are on the steering committee, if you could wave or add your name into the chat with a brief hello, and also maybe how you're doing today. And then all other participants, I invite you to do the same. How are you feeling today? 0, I'm not feeling great. 5, I'm feeling pretty awesome. Feel free to put that in the chat. So the steering committee is focused on helping build this forum, this Congress, supporting the working group development, which we'll hear more from in just a few minutes, and providing strategic planning and capacity development to ensure that the success of the Women's Forest Congress is real. And by the way, I am loving seeing all these numbers over there in the chat. I am seeing so many 4s and 5s and 3s. And if you are a 2 or a 1, I hope that we can help boost you up today. So in short, our steering committee planted a seed a little more than a year ago. And we've been watering the seedling, and we are in awe of that growing forest that has been created. We initially formed rather organically. We were at happenstance in the hallway of a conference in October of 2019. We were a handful of women who felt that there was something worth exploring related to bringing a women's lens and really forming a community around issues and opportunities facing forests and the people who love forests. We're from the private sector, nonprofit organizations, and the academic community, and many others who you've now heard about today. Rather quickly, last fall, we approached the would-be organizers of what was the historical American Forest Congresses. They used to happen every 20 years or so. And we asked if we could take the 8th Congress and turn it into the Women's Forest Congress instead. And we were granted an open door, and we walked through that door, and we have been sprinting or dancing, I like to say, forward ever since then. So early last year, we were bold and we thought that we could bring 100 or even 500 women to Minneapolis in the spring of 2020 for an in-person Congress. We were told by many people that there was no way we could pull that off in a short amount of time, yet we persisted. Then COVID hit the world, our country, our communities, our families, and like many, we pivoted. So instead, we invited about 60 to 70 women to participate in a virtual planning scoping summit last summer in July of 2020. And we heard loud and clear that this effort was something worth continuing. The summit gave us fodder to create working groups, which I'm so excited we're going to get to hear from shortly, an advisory council, and to think bigger, think longer term, and think more strategically. And as someone on the steering committee said last week, we tested the water, and that water was warm. So these are the visual notes that are being scrolled through right now from that planning summit. They're also available on the Padlet site, which we'll make sure certain everyone has a link to if you don't already. So we're still working towards an in-person convening at some point in the future. In the meantime, the steering committee still meets every week. We ask each other how we're doing. For now, we help chair the working groups and we support the day-to-day or the week-to-week operations behind the scenes. We're truly here to let you be heard. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to our wonderful working group representatives who are going to share a bit about these groups and the work they're doing. Thanks for being here today. Amanda, the microphone is yours.
All right, thank you. My name is Amanda Mahaffey, and I am with the Forest Stewards Guild, and I live in Brunswick, Maine, so that's where I am zooming in from today. I have the pleasure of being part of the meeting design and logistics team. It's a really wonderful group, and I hope all of you have the chance to meet this awesome team of women that I get to zoom in and chat with every so often to help plan this event. Our job is to get today's event off the ground, which with a lot of help we've been able to do. We also are trying to plan the kind of the arc of experience. There are 3 other virtual events that are coming this year. So please stay tuned for a follow-up email where you'll learn a little bit more about what's coming. We want to make sure that the events that we are able to hold this year are going to also set us up for success for hopefully our in-person event next year. We also are doing our best to support event accessibility. Thank you for your patience with that. And we are always looking to improve and find better ways to be more inclusive and more impactful with our audiences. So that's our little summary from our team. And I'm really glad that all of you are here today. I look forward to meeting everybody.
Thank you, Amanda. We will now have Nadine Block, who will be representing the content development update.
Hi, hello everyone, and happy International Women's Day. I'm Nadine Block. I'm the Senior Vice President of Community and Government Relations at the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, and I live in Portland, Oregon. I came away from the pre-Congress last summer really energized to work with this amazing group of women who are putting our collective energy into driving positive change in the forest sector. The content development group, as you see here, has it's a large group of people. We've been having monthly calls and brainstorming on ideas that would create compelling content. Some of our current ideas so far include a leadership series to build and support our talents and ambitions together, focused on providing leadership skills training. We'll hear from Lynn Wilson today to get us started on this topic. Mentoring opportunities to grow our network and the ways we can support one another and develop together. Sessions on how to navigate the challenge of diversity, using success stories that help us identify how we can make meaningful progress on creating diverse workforces, both within our individual organizations and more broadly across our sector. And examining key issues and challenges for women to achieve greater success and parity in our fields of practice, and to support the framing and outcomes of the in-person Congress, hopefully in 2022. So these are just a few ideas. There's no shortage, but we're always open to more ideas. After this event today, you will receive a post-event survey that's going to ask for your input towards prioritizing these topics and identifying others. We're keen to ensure we're creating content that's meaningful and valuable, and look forward to hearing from you to inform our next steps. Thanks.
Thank you, Nadine. All right, next we will have our stakeholder engagement update by Nicole Stiffarm.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me? I am Nicole Stiffarm. My English name is Nicole Stiffarm. My name in Cree is Kihiukawitapmat. It translates to sits beside eagle. I am an enrolled member of the Chippewa Cree tribe in Rocky Boy, Montana. And today I'm joining you from the homelands of the Salish, Kootenai, and Pend Oreille tribes here in Western Montana. I am so happy to be with you all today as we celebrate International Women's Day. Today I want to give you a quick update on the work that we do with the Stakeholder Engagement Committee. To date, we have identified nearly 200 stakeholders, both within the US and the lower 48, as well as other countries, including Canada. We are working to, we have monthly calls that are kind of working to identify some gaps that we may have in our current participation, and we're always looking for feedback from participants. So if you have somebody that may be interested in the work that we're doing as engagement, we'd love to hear from you. We are also working to make sure that we are advocating for effective engagement and inclusion throughout all of the various practices within forestry. Sorry, I lost my slide there for a second. We have identified a pretty good group of diverse stakeholders and groups who have participated or who are hoping will participate in the future going forward in the Congress. And right now, as the feedback comes back in, we're hoping to have a lot more ideas come through from you all. And we can look forward to increasing the engagement that we have and growing the Women's Forest Congress. Again, I'm very happy to be with you all, and I hope that we can meet each other soon in person. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nicole. Next, we will have an update from the communications team from Lynn Wilson.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lynn Wilson, Assistant Director at U.S. Forest Service and National Lead of Urban and Community Forestry. And I'm coming to you all this afternoon from Maryland. I'd love to share with you about our communications group. It's a very small but mighty group. We are a cluster of women who are from the US and Canada. And I would add that we're a pretty energetic group of idea sharers. Leading in our respective spaces, we represent government, for-profit, nonprofit, academic, and really excited because our committee is always joined by a young lady who is pursuing her PhD in forestry. And so we feel like we have representation across industry, but also that generational connection. In short, we've been creative and passionate, trying to show ways that we can care about each other, the work we're doing, and expressing just our communication values. We're working on a couple new things, thinking about how the Women's Forest Congress movement is advancing and progressing. We're looking forward to developing a communications plan with goals and objectives, thinking about the diversity of the audience we're trying to target, and how can we make messages, create messages that resonate. In a world of social media, want to make sure that we take advantage of as many different platforms as possible. And so we're excited. This is we're ecstatic about the participation, but then at the same time, we're all fired up and excited about forestry and what we do in the spaces and what we bring to forestry. And so I want to, before I let you go and turn it back over, I do want to put a plug in from the communications working group that everyone take advantage of our hashtag, Women's Forest Congress, and engage online, because we are also looking to see those social media and engagement reactions. It'll help us figure out what spaces our potential audience is in and how we can best deliver our strategy. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you, Beatrice. Next, we will have a fundraising update by Rita Height.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. So good to see familiar and new names and faces. So our fundraising team, of course, is all about the money. But what's really important about our work with the fundraising team is making sure that we're raising money that we want, and that our money is that we are raising is tied to a commitment to action. So this fundraising team is just getting off the ground. So if you're looking for a place to volunteer and want to either help us raise dollars or help us, shape the protocols and shape the structure for how we raise money and the parameters around that, we welcome your engagement. And thanks, everybody. We do already have a number of supporters and sponsors that have helped make our work possible over the last couple of years as we have navigated the craziness of COVID. So thank you to our sponsors already, and hope that we'll see a number of folks volunteer for this fundraising team in the future.
Thank you, Rita. Next, we will have an advisory council update by Asia Doughton.
Hello, everyone. My name is Asia Doughton, and I'm an assistant professor of urban and community forestry at Michigan State University. Like so many of those who have had an opportunity to speak before me today, I have to share that I am just so excited that we are here today to see so many people joining from around the world, and to see the effort of so many people between the working groups and the steering committee come together to create such a phenomenal event on International Women's Day. as has been highlighted over the course of the past year and a half, a significant amount of work has been contributed by both members of the steering committee and the working groups to bring us to this point and propel us as we move forward. But as our initiative begins to take on momentum and we are planning large things for the foreseeable future, it's become evident to us that we would really benefit from having advisory input from a council that can help steer us and point us in the direction that we should be moving forward in as a group as we march towards the Congress, hopefully in 2022. And so in the fall, the steering committee began to put forth a significant thought behind, what an advisory council might look like, what we might ask of an advisory council, and how we would envision them working with us and really helping us to make the Women's Forest Congress something that would be equitable for all, accessible for all, and of impact both in the short and long-term spans in the field of forestry and beyond. And so to that end, we moved forward in the late fall and began receiving nominations for advisory council members. As you can imagine, we were inundated with a large number, nearly 30 nominees whose expertise spanned all areas of both the forestry and conservation sectors, and whose expertise and experience really has been displayed around the world. We had nominees who represent coast to coast, various sectors, various parts of industry, government, academia, both in the United States and Canada. And as we were reviewing applications for our nominees, we began to really think about what would make for a really sound council as we move forward. We wanted to make sure that we had representation from across racial and ethnic diverse groups, and also wanted to make sure that we had, again, representation from across the sector, and that we were in a position to have advisory advice, if you will, come through from people who are at mid to senior levels in their career. And so over the course of the past month, we've been reading through applications and really, moving towards setting our advisory council. And I'm very happy to announce today and to share with the group that we are nearly complete in that process. To date, we have 8 confirmed advisory council members. And I'd like to just welcome them to the advisory council and share them with you all. We have Tia Beavert, Mary Kate Bullen, Deb Hawkinson, Jessica Leahy, Caitlin Pollahan, Andrea Tuttle, Tanya Wick, and I'm very happy to announce that just prior to our call today, we confirmed our 8th member, and that is Ebony Alexander of the Black Family Land Trust. We're still in the process of we're moving through the process of finalizing acceptances from a few additional nominees who we have invited to the board. Once those nominations are confirmed, we will be moving forward with a formal press release through which we will make the official announcement of our advisory council. So I encourage you to stay tuned for that. That word will be coming out very soon. And I want to say a special thank you again to the members of the advisory council who we're sharing with you today. And also thank you to all who nominated themselves or submitted a nomination for someone. And thank you to you all for your investment in what we're working on. We look forward to working with the advisory council to move forward with the Women's Forest Congress.
Thank you so much, Asia. And it is so exciting. So I've been working with the Women's Forest Congress for the last year, and to truly see where the Women's Forest Congress started and where the Women's Forest Congress is now, it is so exciting to see the headway that has been made. And so congratulations to those who have been elected or nominated to be on the advisory council. So these are committees that each of you can join. And so we have one committee that is actively looking for members, and that is the fundraising committee. And so you can email the Women's Forest Congress at info@womensforestcongress.org in order to share your interest in joining one of the committees. And I want to thank the ladies for sharing your reports. And with that being said, we are going to open the floor for questions and answers. And so if you have any questions in regards to the updates that were just shared, you can put those in the question and answer function, and we will respond to the questions accordingly. Any questions? And I know it's something to ponder on as far as being committed to various committees. And so the committees are more than happy, I'm sure, to help you through that process or answer any questions that you may have, whether it be now or after our session today. So are there any questions? What is the time commitment to expect to being on the committees? Does a committee member want to respond? What the time commitment could be?
I'll take a crack at that. Thanks, Mia. So depending on which committee it is, there's different amounts of meetings. I'll use the meeting design and logistics. We meet monthly for about an hour. And then obviously leading up to events, we may have more things that we need to be working on prior to events. And then each of the other groups has at least monthly meetings, and then some time off the side. We can't do everything over in just the meeting time. So it's not a huge commitment. The more that we have, the more hands in this we have, the better, but definitely some commitment. So open, really open to whatever people can give.
Thank you, Ara. Someone asks, how many countries are currently represented within the Women's Forest Congress?
I'll try and answer that one, Mia. Thank you, Ara, for taking the first question. And, you know, right now we have very active participation from people in the United States and Canada. Today, as was mentioned in the beginning, we have registration participants from more than 28 countries. And so the participation in events like this is open, it's global, and whoever can and wants to is welcome. When we get to the in-person Congress, we want to be clear about what we can accommodate in terms of the size of the group managing in person. So we're still thinking through the logistics of what we'll be able to represent at the in-person Congress, but all of these events that we do remotely between now and then, join us as you have today. Very happy to have people here.
Thank you, Katie. The next question is, if someone missed the beginning, is there a place where a recording will be available?
And I think Liz may have answered this in the chat as well, but we are planning to make a recording of this session available, so stay tuned. Yep.
Thank you, Katie. Any other questions? All right, well, hearing none, if you have any questions, again, the committee will be more than happy to share their responses with you if you just reach out to them via this email here at info@womensforestcongress.org.